Alright, I just want to talk about something. My son came home to me the other day, and I told him when he was multiplying by decimals, he had to move the decimal from the right to the left. And he looked at me and said, "Dad, why would I do that?" And the more I think about it, I can see that it's kind of confusing. I mean, if you think about it, if you take the number 12, right, and you multiply by 10, what you're really doing is you're taking that decimal and you're moving it over one place value, right? You're moving it to the right. So here I have multiplying and I move right, right? And if you take that same number 12, right, and you divide it by 10, right, well, it goes in once, right, and you subtract and you add your decimal, right, you drop it down, and then you have 1.2. So here I am dividing and I'm moving it to the left. And I can see where his confusion, because now we're taking these powers of 10 that he so often said, hey, when I multiply by 10, I move right, and when I divide by 10, I move left, and we're applying it in a way that he's never seen before. So I have a boy that now, when he divides, he wants to start the decimal and move it the wrong way. And I understand the basis of the confusion because we've created rules that his mind has adopted in the wrong way. So he's got this kind of inscribed in his brain a misconception. And I'm trying to teach him out of this brain. So I'm just going to make a short little video on why we move the decimal to the left even though we're multiplying. And it really has to do with the number line, right? When I am multiplying 12 by 12, if I multiply that, I get 144. And we all know 12 times 12 is 144. But you think about it, this is 12 ones. This is also 12 ones. And we multiply them because there's no decimal involved. There really is nothing to worry about. We just kind of go through, we know our multiplication tables, and we do 12 by 12. But if I take that and I do this, I go 12 by 12, and I put a decimal there. All right. Now, logically, 12 by 12, if I just went through, I would still get the same number. I'm still multiplying this 2 by that 2 and that 1. I'm still multiplying this 1 by that 2 and that 1. I'm going to end up with 144. But you know what I've done now? I've multiplied 12 ones, right? And what I've multiplied that by, right, is I've multiplied that by 12 tenths. This is 12 tenths, right? The last place value, we always say 1 and 2 tenths. But really, when we write numbers, the last place value tells you how many of that place values there are, all right? If I do this, I could say 510, or I could say 51 tenths. If I say the number 512, I could say 510 plus 2, or I could say 512 ones. So your last place value tells you what's up. It tells you what's happening. And this is really 12 times 1 and 2 tenths, which gives me 12 tenths. So the reason the decimal value is moving, in context to what he's saying, is because when I multiply by a decimal, yes, I'm multiplying by 12. 12 times 12, multiply across. But at the end of that, I'm dividing by whatever the place values are. I'm dividing by 10. And what does this division tell me? Even in context to what he thinks, that I take this and I move the decimal one place value to the left, because that's what you do when you divide by 10. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more here. All right, so that is why we take from the right to the left and add one decimal. All right, because technically I am multiplying by 12, but because of the way our number system works, and it doesn't really show up as much with decimals as it does with fractions, we're also dividing by 10. All right, let's take this. Let's go 100 or 1,000 times 12 hundredths. All right, I might even add one more, because if we have a 4-digit number at the end, which we won't, I think we're good. If I multiplied this across, let's do it row by row. 0, 0, 0, 2. Add my 0 for my place value. 1, 2, 3. So 0, 0, 0, 1. I can see that without any decimals, right, I would get 12,000. Now my son, seeing this in multiplication, he wants to put the decimal here. All right, and he wants to say 12. But if you think about it again, if you think about what we're actually doing, we are taking 1,000. I'm just going to write this as a fraction, and we're multiplying by 12 hundredths. All right? And here's the reason for the move in the decimal. Yes, I can multiply across. So my top would be 12,000 again. But I would end up dividing that by 100. And there's the crux of it. The core of what my son is thinking is right? When we divide, we move to the left. It makes the number smaller. But when we multiply it by a decimal, right, there's a blurring of the lines of multiplying and division. Because technically, I am multiplying 12 by 1,000. But because of that hundredths place value, at the very end of this problem, I'm dividing by 100. So I move my decimal to there, and 1,000 times 12 hundredths is actually 120. I can check this in a calculator and I'll get the right answer, and I can logically work through it. So I hope this will help my son figure this out, that even though you're multiplying when you do decimals, it behaves much the same as dividing by 10. It moves the decimal from left to right. I'm sorry, from right to left and not from left to right. All right. Thank you. I am going to stop this video. And anyone listening, you have an awesome day.